What's up, everybody? I'm Katie.
And I'm Morgan.
And this is For Your Misinformation. We are two Midwestern feminists here to break down the political news that you need to know without the misinformation that you don't.
Let us break down the problem and tell you what we're doing and what you can do to help solve it. It blows the circuit in my apartment, which was wired horribly.
That sounds like an electrical problem that you should call your landlord, maybe.
Yeah, they came and checked it out, and they were just like, yeah, we can't figure out what the problem is. And I'm like, great.
That's what Jared Kushner would say.
Oh, God. Yeah. You have to be
probably.
careful. You have to be careful with that stuff, for sure.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, well, we'll just get it as charged as I think it needs to be to record. And
Excellent.
then just see. Otherwise, I can just, like, unplug other things to plug it in. But that's just like...
Morgan, did you see that Kate Kelly responded to me on Twitter?
No.
So I asked her why people are Mormon. I just was thinking, okay, there's a new series on Netflix.
Why are Mormons?
Did you see the new series on Netflix about, it's like murders in Mormon murders? Something.
Oh, yeah, I did see something like that. It's like,
did you watch it?
No, I did not watch it.
It's crazy. Okay.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
Sorry, I'm on episode 2, but I can't tell if I'm being punked, like, because it's so stupid. Like, sorry, and there's bombings. It's like high drama. It's like, I'm only on episode 2, but like, I don't understand why anybody would like bother to be like keep going with it. But anyway, she gave me a funny answer, and then she gave me a very serious answer, and she was like, well, for one, it's a very effective behavioral control system that forces people to be compliant and stay, plus a doctrine that encourages them to have lots of babies, and 2, a heavy recruitment program that isn't wildly effective in the internet age but helps replenish attrition. I'm so glad you told me to ask her. I texted this to Morgan. I was like, why are people Mormon? And she was like, ask Kate Kelly, don't ask me.
Yeah, like ask someone who was super Mormon and is now not super Mormon, because they would know.
I mean, most of my information about Mormonism comes from the Book of Mormon on Broadway, so, I mean...
I haven't even seen that.
Oh my gosh, you would think it's so funny.
Oh, really? My
Yeah.
dad told me that, but now I believe you.
Yeah,
It
no,
has
you
to
would
come
think
from up
it's...
here.
Yeah, you would love it. You would
Nice.
very much
As
appreciate
soon
it.
as COVID's over, that'll be my next.
There you go.
Group
Find it on tour.
to-do
Come
list.
visit me in New York, you know. Come see it on
Yes.
Broadway.
The real deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
why not?
I really want to see 6 once we have...
That
once
was
we
high
have
on my
theater
list,
again.
yeah.
Ooh.
They were doing it outside. Did you see that? In England, they were doing like a drive-in, and it was like a big stage in the middle, and the cars were like socially distanced and stuff.
Oh,
They
I
did a
love
couple.
it.
I know.
That's
so
so
inspiring.
cool.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that gives me so much hope. Yeah, that...
It's coming back. They're doing some Broadway pop-ups, I think, in some of the theaters and stuff like that. And I don't know exactly when they're going to reopen. I think Hamilton was trying for like July 4th as like an official Independence
I like
Day,
that.
you know, whatever. But we'll see. We'll see how the vaccines go. I say why not? If restaurants are open, you know, without mask wearing, you could certainly distance people with masks and open them up.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the performers would be the ones that were like the biggest
right.
risk, and they could get vaccines. They could be prioritized.
There you go.
As they
plan.
should be.
We've got the plan. Absolutely. They've also
should
been
put
out
us
of
in
work
charge of
whole
this.
time. We should be in charge of everything.
How many
Obviously.
times do we say that, Katie? We say that all the time. They should just put us in charge of things.
Easy.
Like, there should be one public health person and at least one like female person, because they can like do the like. I just can't stop thinking about the Andrew Cuomo thing. How like, who is it that has to like work behind the scenes to like get him and Bill de Blasio to like talk to each other? Like, isn't there like I don't know what I'm thinking about, but it's
So
just like,
which Andrew Cuomo thing? Because there've been a few lately.
Yeah, I know.
I know. And he was like the hero. Like, you know, 9
Right.
months ago, he was, you know, every day doing the briefings. Everyone loved him. He wrote a book. He got
wrote a
awards,
book.
all the stuff. I'm
But, like-
sure he didn't write it. I'm sure someone wrote it. And he was
Yeah. But imagine like a female leader writing a book like midway through a pandemic about like how great he handled the pandemic. Like no female would ever think to do that. She would be too busy like worrying about the pandemic. Like, so there has to be one woman in the room who like is reasonable and doesn't have to like, I don't know, just rooms full of dudes gotta go.
I mean, I agree, especially with all the accusations coming out against him right now. I'm sure if there had been women in the room, you know, experienced women in positions of power, they wouldn't be making comments like, you know, can I kiss you with a hand on the lower back? Come on.
And he was like, oh, I just joke around. People who work with me know that. I didn't think it was anything inappropriate. I'm like, how have you gotten this far in your life without realizing that that's inappropriate? Oh, my God.
I want to be like, it's 2021, but it shouldn't have been acceptable before. But I know I grew up thinking that was okay. I thought it was like a compliment. Yeah. You know, you walk through a bar, 20 years old, 21 years old legally, you know, and some guy grabs you. It's like, oh, you. But like, it should never have been okay.
Right.
I remember getting in trouble in school for grabbing my own boobs. Like, we should definitely not be touching other people.
Definitely not. That's part of it too. The policing in the schools with girls can't wear certain outfits, so they get yelled at and shamed. But like, not the boy who, you know, says the inappropriate thing. Boys being boys, you know. Yeah. But the girls have to like watch themselves and, you know, sit through all the training of like, don't do this, so the boys don't do the bad thing. Meanwhile, maybe just say boys don't do the fucking bad thing.
Yeah. I'm listening. Oh yeah, I listened to a podcast about Phyllis Schlafly today and like why the ERA is still not passed and how annoying it, how like she basically like single-handedly derailed the whole thing. And that was one of her, she was like very victim blaming. She was like, well, if you were a virtuous woman, you wouldn't have to worry about that. And it's like, ew, I hate you so much.
Yeah, she goes in the pit.
I forget what service it's on, but there was a show that came in not so long ago about her and that whole movement. So good.
Mrs. America. Yes. I think it might have been
Hulu. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch it because I don't have Hulu. Well, I have a Hulu password now, but
we all share. Sharing is caring.
When the Happiest season came out, I was like, fuck, I gotta get Hulu. One of my friends was like, I got you.
Nice. I got it for Handmaid's Tale, which is coming back in a couple weeks.
I cannot watch The Handmaid's Tale and then be responsible for anything I like say or do to a man because it just makes me hate all men.
I think it was harder to watch during the last administration, and now I feel like it's a little safer to watch, but it definitely revved me up. And then, you know, with everything going on, I was like, I'm not that far from it.
Well, yeah, and not where Morgan lives. Morgan lives in Iowa. Like, she's SOL. Like, if Roe gets overturned, which, like, isn't stuff moving through the courts now that, like, it could end up? Yeah, so, like, I'm good. I live in Chicago. Like, I'm protected either way. But, like, yeah, Morgan, you're...
Oh, the state legislature's already on it, though. They, like, were trying to pass a bill to put up... to like basically they want to like shut down Planned Parenthoods, which they're effectively doing, and open up women's health centers with some stupid sounding name that like are not abortion providers. They don't even provide birth control, these centers that this bill would like. There's no abortion services, there's no birth control. It is nothing but, oh, you're pregnant, keep your baby, here's some vitamins. Like,
but then once you have the baby, it's like, bye.
Yeah, they don't even. It's
you should have been more responsible.
Maybe like, one box of Pampers, and it's like that'll get you through.
Yeah, here's like a canister of a formula, but we're going to shame you if you're not breastfeeding. So
why aren't you more grateful?
This. So
that's what I mean. Planned Parenthood. I have to say, like, a couple of years back, I actually went to a rally for Planned Parenthood in Washington Square Park with my stepson, who was like 14 at the time. Like, he wanted to come. Like, he was really interested in it. And he got a lot of information. And I have members of my family that are very religious. They're like, you know, abortion bad, you know, Jesus good, all that. Which, I mean, like, to your own separation church and state, whatever. But he actually had a conversation with his grandparents about Planned Parenthood, and that they provide cancer screening and, birth control and STD testing, all this stuff, and it's not just abortion. And I made sure, I said, as long as you're like respectful, like don't be mean, don't lecture them, but like try and help them to see your point of view. And he said it was, and I asked them and they said it was good. So you know what, like, younger generation, like, stepping up a little bit and learning, because Planned Parenthood does so much. I know, all of it, but I'm just more active in that. And I know they don't use federal dollars for abortion. They're not allowed to. It's like,
right,
what, 4 or 5% of what they do, if that, like,
Yeah.
right.
I'm in New
Wow,
York,
that's
so,
so impressive.
you're welcome to come here or whatever.
Yeah.
I did sign up. There's a program that you can house women who are escaping states. It sounds so sick to say, but women who have to travel to other states. I know.
This is Handmaid's Tale.
And they help them with bus fare, and then you take care of them. They live with you for a couple of days while they get the procedure, and then they go back home. And I signed up, and they had like an abundance of volunteers somewhere around 2016 for, an obvious reason.
Yeah.
But it's nice that there are organizations out there that try to help.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Also, the kids are all right. Like, the youths give me some hope.
I know.
They really do. When they're not eating Tide Pods, they're actually being really good little stewards.
I hope so. I don't know. I'm on TikTok a little too much, and I definitely see the other side.
Yeah. But, like, he educated himself. He talked to people who he knew had an opposing viewpoint, like, respectfully, and enough that, like, they saw his point of view. Like, that's an incredible skill to have.
That's a good job.
Especially at 14, that's so impressive. That's crazy. Like, I want to do that more.
And I've had hard conversation with those same members of my family, and it's like, some people like to get a little bit of information, and then they're like, they've made their opinion, and they're like, and now I stopped watching the news because my opinion is set, and that's what it is. And I'm like, what about this? Oh, well, I don't know, but I just know this. And it's like, okay. I have way too many of those conversations. I've stopped, but I had a lot of Facebook conversations, and I always tried to stay respectful, not always successfully, but I couldn't put my head in the sand and just stay in my bubble at a certain point with everything.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, like, I just listened to your last pod talking about everything in Flint, and it's like, if people just kept their heads down and didn't call their legislatures and try and get stuff passed, nothing would have gotten fixed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. Like, there's so many things that it's just like, they would just still be wrong if people were not speaking up. And then there's a lot of things that are still wrong because there's not enough people speaking up, or they're speaking up but nobody cares, which is also a problem. But we're not going to talk about those today.
Yeah.
Like, I think people assume that, like, Martin Luther King Jr. said that the arc of the moral universe bends towards justice, but it's like, that's not really true. Like, people bend it towards justice. Like, the civil rights, like, the Civil War, like, wouldn't have happened. It's not like it was going that direction. Like, it took a whole bunch of force to get slavery outlawed, and then, like, to get more civil rights legislation, like the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, and then, like, more civil rights stuff. Like, that took forever. Like, and it took a lot of people pushing. Like, it's not like it's just going that direction. Right. Okay. I'm rambling. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, you're so right, though. Like, I just was watching a TED Talk the other day, and the lady was like, these are the different types of racism, and they're all really important, but there's just the one thing we need to fix, which is the institutionalized racism. She's like, we need policy to do that. Without that, it doesn't matter how many nice people there are in the world who aren't acting racist until we dismantle the existing structures and rebuild and replace them with ones that are not racist. And I was like, we've been saying this, and this lady's smart. She just said that.
Equality is not a feeling, like Kate Kelly said. Like, it's in laws. Like, women aren't in the Constitution, so we're not equal yet.
We weren't even 3/5.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing, is institutionally, and that's what keeps people in a lower socioeconomic level, lower education level, because of systemic racism, because they're in areas that don't have the right access to schools. They for generations weren't able to buy property and build wealth and things like that. And then to today, where it's like a health and wellness call turns into someone getting shot in front of their own house.
Yeah.
And that happens predominantly in that community.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like-
It's like,
Should we introduce you?
I was gonna say.
yes, we should.
My name is Jackie. I live in New York, like I said before, and I have another podcast which is called Give Our Take, and it's politics, news, pop culture, so everything from like civil rights justice to like Britney Spears documentaries and my dogs and just everything kind of happening that my co-host and I find important. Probably similar to like what you guys do.
Mhm.
I'm lucky enough to have a co-host who, if anyone listening is from New York, she's a DJ on 103.5 KTU. Her name is Wendy Wild. And I met her in the most random way, just a very like random moment. One of my stepsons wanted to pet her dog. We started to start talking about dogs. She wanted to pet, he wanted to pet the dog. And I was actually not there. My husband was with them. And I come out of the drugstore and I'm like, who's this blonde that my husband's talking to? What is going on here? And so she and I ended up becoming really good friends. And, years later, she knew me as like crazy about politics. Honestly, most for the last like 5 years or so. And she's like, I want to use my platform to do more, but I'm not allowed to really talk about this stuff on the radio because that's not her platform there. She, introduced the song, she talks to celebrities, this, that, and the other, but it's like she doesn't have that platform to talk about it. So we created this almost a year ago now, and it's taught me a lot. I'm sure you guys doing this teaches you because you want to learn more and then you want to educate everybody else. And so it just turns into deeper dives for you.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Your podcast is so fun. And I'm like, think of it. It's like ours because it's two women and they're passionate and smart and funny and it's just great. So everybody should listen. Also, that is the cutest like podcast host meet cute I've ever heard.
Aw, meet cutes. You're so adorable. Yeah, in my non-podcast life, I did film theater stuff, and of course then COVID. So now I'm in grad school to become a therapist. So that's been my COVID journey. All online. I can't imagine going physically into a classroom, but it's been interesting, but it's good.
My fiance will graduate with his master's in social work in May or June.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. I will be just behind him graduating in August of next year. So
that's exciting.
So I guess a year and so later. What are the months? I'm still like in March of 2020.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But good for you for finding a fiance who's like in tune with that energy. Wow.
I know. I'm very lucky.
So do you have a meet cute with him or some kind of story?
Okay, their story's very cute.
It's real cute. He was my first kiss in high school when I was 16 or 17. It's actually, well, all right. It's not that cute because then I was like, we're dating now, right? And he was like, and I was like, okay, great. Fuck you then. And we didn't talk because I had a huge crush on him. Sorry. He like, it wasn't just that he was my first kiss. Like I had a huge crush on him for a really long time. So then like, but he always had a girlfriend. And then finally when he didn't, I was like, we're dating now, right? And he was like, I don't think so. And I was like, okay, fuck off. So we didn't talk for like 10 or 12 years. And then at a random like high school classmate bachelor party, he sent me a DM on Instagram. And now we're getting married.
Oh my God, that's adorable. That's adorable.
So
he did apologize. Actually, so like he apologized in high school. Like our senior year, he did say like, hey, that was really shitty of me and like apologize. So already I was like ahead of most other men in my life, like ready to apologize without like a prompting. Like he was in tune with that. That was very nice. But yeah, now he's I don't know. He's the best. I love him very much.
Oh, lucky.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Slid into the DMs. That's so cute.
It's so cute. I think
And
it's
it worked.
great.
DMs work, people. Shoot your shot.
Why not? I mean, it costs nothing, especially if it's like an old person. I don't know. Everyone that I see on Instagram or Facebook, like from my high school days, are mostly like fat and bald, which is fine. That's your journey.
He's pretty sure that he's not going to go bald, and he talks about it a lot.
My big crush, like first kiss from like high school, like, is not someone I would have dated at this point in my life. I'm very grateful for my husband as well.
Mhm.
I love him to bits.
My
Did
first
you hear
love.
him? He goes, "No, you're not."
My first love is gay now, so
Aww.
I don't know what that says about me.
That was my prom date, and now he lives across the street from me. Totally random.
Oh my gosh,
Wow.
that's so fun!
Where did
I
you
knew he
grow
was
up?
gay. I knew he was gay at the time when I took him to prom. He was like, he went to school with my sister. He was a musical theater major. I was into musical theater. I was like, "You're gonna be the best dancer at my prom, so like, why not?"
Mhm.
And so I knew. I mean, it wasn't a surprise that he was gay, but then randomly, like a year and a half after moving into my apartment, I ran into him like at the bodega on the corner, and he's like, "I live there." So now we've hung out, and now he's
That's
actually
crazy.
engaged, and so I've hung out with him and his fiance. We go to brunch when we can. So now you're
Everyone
hearing
is
my...
so cute and married.
Aw. You're cute. I don't know your situation, but I'm just such into it. But
I might get another guinea pig, so that's my
Woo!
situation.
Excellent. And you've got like a golden retriever that I think.
Yeah,
is on the
I've got a
background?
golden
Aw.
retriever and a mutt behind me. I've got a cat that's giving me the stink eye because I won't let her on my computer keyboard. And I've got 2 guinea pigs. Got just a little
Aw.
menagerie over here.
Nice. You're hearing my older guy. He's fresh from the shower.
Aw.
Where he got a
So
nice little
clean.
bath. Nice, fresh and so clean. And that's my husband saying he's bad. I'm like, he literally just gave my dog like a medicated shampoo shower that he hates. Was I was on this pod talking to you guys. So see, good guy.
A winner.
We appreciate it.
Yes. Okay, but it's Women's History Month, and so, not only are we just solely wanting to talk to women this month, also every month, but we are wanting to feature some awesome women in history, and you're going to tell us about one.
Yeah, so I did mention the podcast, so we actually also have a TikTok, Give Our Take, same thing. I know, Cooper, it's so good. And for Black History Month, we have a contributor named Ime who did every day something for Black History. So then she's like, "That's a lot. I'm tired." So I'm like, "Great, I will help with Women's History Month." So doing some research for that. So the woman I'm going to talk about with you guys today is Hedy Lamarr.
Awesome.
So Hedy Lamarr, she was born in 1913 to Austrian Jewish parents, and her name originally was Hedwig Keisler. So that changed later on when she was, a little bit famous. So she was a thriving artist in Vienna in the 20s and 30s, and by 19 she already had a pretty successful film career. And the thing that got her known was this film called Extance, which actually translates to ecstasy. And it's a film about a young woman who marries a wealthy but older man, and then they have a passionless marriage, and of course she meets a younger guy, and it was the first film that was non-porn that portrayed sexual intercourse and the female orgasm. Let's show the actors' faces during the orgasms, but it was scandalous.
That is progressive.
For the time, right?
Woo!
Amazing. So she was well ahead of her time, making it happen, 19 years old. Through her film and theater work, she met an older man, who's an arms manufacturer, and he was like, "Great, you're sexy, I love you, let's get married. And by the way, stop doing that. Stop acting. Come be my little wife. I've now tamed you."
Mhm.
So she did it for a little while, and he was so jealous of that film that he found every copy he could in all of Europe and destroyed it. No one shall see. Of course, now it's on the internet everywhere.
Woo!
If anyone wants to find it somewhere. So he was like, "Mine, that's it, no more."
Some toxic masculinity.
Toxic.
Wow.
However, to his credit, he recognized that not only was she beautiful and a talented actress, she had an amazing brain. So he would actually talk to her about business deals, and he would talk to her about the things that were going on with his arms deals. And because timeline-wise, for anyone paying attention, we're now in the late 30s, 1940s, they're in Vienna. He's doing arms deals with the Nazis and the Allies. So he's kind of doing deals with different people. And she's sitting in on some of these meetings. She's the arm candy at the dinner, but they're just not looking at her like someone who's paying attention or would follow what they're saying. So she's storing all of this information in the back of her mind somewhere, just paying attention, because she just had that kind of mind, even though she wasn't formally trained in anything like that. She was around it enough, and he respected her enough that she was able to have these conversations. And that was not quite enough for her. She wanted to go back to acting. She wanted to have a voice. He didn't like it, so she pretty much packed up and went off to London. She packed up a steamer trunk and just left him with divorce papers. She was like, "That's it, got what I want," You're not going to let me do what I want to do. I've learned what I can, but like, I'm done. Then she wants to go to America, and she magically ends up on the same ship as Louis B. Mayer from MGM. And by the time she's crossed the Atlantic, she's got a contract with MGM as an actress to work in films here in America.
Another good meet cute.
Meet cute. I know. There should be a movie about that. I kept picturing like the Titanic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there was some finagling. That wasn't by accident. Maybe it was. I don't know. But yeah, that's how she started her way working in films here in America. And she became pretty successful right away. She did a film called Algiers in 1938. That was her first film here. She starred opposite Clark Gable in Boomtown, and both in 1940, and with James Stewart in Come Live With Me and The Ziegfeld Girl, both in 1941. Then her biggest success was in Cecil B. DeMille's Samson and Delilah, where she played Delilah. Mm-hmm. She was known as like the most beautiful woman in the world. That was her moniker, and that was how she was marketed. And she had a lot of success, and later on in life, she actually did get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1960. She wasn't really a party goer. Like I said earlier, she was very intellectual. So even the whole time she's like making these movies, she's doing this stuff, she's home like tinkering, drawing, doing design. She was friendly with a lot of different successful people at the time. She actually even had assistants that were hired by Howard Hughes to help her with all of her endeavors. I mean, so definitely not the typical, Hollywood starlet. And she was kind of like us, keeping up with the times. Even though she was working in the film industry, she was following what was going on with the wars, because we're now going into like the 1940s. And she saw that the Germans were actually using torpedoes to get rid of ships, to sink ships with refugees. So not even just warships, that they were literally going after people that were fleeing the Nazis. And so they were sinking these ships. So she's like, I want to come up with a way to fix this, to make this, to help these people, to help the Allies. And so she had all of this information about how they do their ships, how they do military, like different things within their systems. And she wanted to help, but she knew that the FBI and the American government was not going to listen to some little actress. So she ended up just designing this system on her own. Not on her own, she did have some help, but she did it and entered this contest, and she pretty much developed targeted torpedoes using what we now use to make Wi-Fi. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. The thing was, if people used wireless, there was a system where, like, if the enemy could get into your same signal, they would jam it, so the torpedo would just like veer off course. Because torpedoes at this time, it's like they were hard to navigate, they were missing their targets, they were hitting the target and not exploding, there were just all kinds of problems. And she created a system where it would be wireless, but it wouldn't go on the same frequency. It would like jump around so that no one could jam it. And she submitted it to government. They classified it, and then they're like, thanks for that. She was like, use it for free, I don't need anything, blah, blah, blah. They classified it and just shut it down for like 15 years. Never used it, never touched it, never did anything like that. And then somewhere in the 1950s, they brought it out and they started using it for submarine-seeking planes, and then it became used in communication. She got nothing from this. She literally gave it to them for free. And then eventually, in the 1990s, she actually struck a deal with a company in Canada, and they used it to create Wi-Fi signals, again, with that varying degree. And that's the first time she got actually paid for it. And it's that technology that then became the Bluetooth technology. And she had no recognition, like, for years whatsoever. Nothing, no one thought of her as anything other than this beautiful woman. And later on in life, she actually started losing her vision. She did not want to be seen out in public. She just kind of would stay home. And it wasn't until 1997 that David Hughes helped her to get a little bit of acknowledgement, and she received the Electronic Frontier Foundation Pioneer Award. She didn't go in person because, like I said, she wasn't comfortable at that point in time, but she did maintain a lot of close friendships. She had 6-7 hours a day on the phone, kind of like us now in quarantine on Zoom. And, so there are a lot of documentaries about her, and she finally got that recognition. It made her really happy to be seen as more than just this like sexy icon. And unfortunately, she did pass away in January of 2000. But she lived a long, fruitful life, and I think a lot of people, looked past her just as a beauty, and she had so much more to give.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like, thank Hedy Lamarr for your Bluetooth headphones.
Right? For your Wi-Fi.
Like,
Could we have gone through pandemic without Wi-Fi?
No.
I mean,
no, I won't even go for a run without my headphones. And I won't even, like, wake up in the morning without Wi-Fi.
Be left to my own thoughts while going for a 10-minute walk? What?
We wouldn't have podcasts if we didn't have Wi-Fi.
God. Yeah, exactly. So
also, I feel like this is so good. Like, okay, like, it's Women's History Month, and I think part of the beauty in that is that, okay, Hedy Lamarr was born in 1913. Women who were beautiful and talented, but still smart and badass little geniuses who were passionate about changing the world. Like, that's not a new thing. That's not like some like new third, fourth wave feminism thing. This is something that women have always been. And I'm so glad that we have time to acknowledge that. Not that it ever rights the wrongs of the past, but
no, we didn't create it. You know what I mean? It's interesting, again, talking about like seconds, like one of them listened to Green Day and he's like, I understand Green Day, you didn't get it. And I was like, okay, like the lyrics Green Day were political, only you realize that? Okay, no problem. Like everyone thinks they invented the wheel, and then it's like you look back, it's like the Kama Sutra, like we didn't create sex, like we've looked at some people, especially black and white pictures and things like that, as if it's distant history, but also that it wasn't a real flesh and blood person.
Yep. Yeah. And women get erased from so many things. And I mean, especially women of color, but man, yeah, I did not know that. I knew Hedy Lamarr was cool, but I did not know like literally any of that. That's
her look was just iconic. I mean, she actually, like, there were some artists that made pictures of her and they were using it for branding and all kinds of stuff, and she sued them and won because badass again, like, you can't just, because she was like a recluse, so people were like, oh, she's not gonna know, she's not gonna, whatever, she wasn't out and about, but she was with it, she knew what was going on, she just didn't want to be out in the world as much, but she was savvy, she was definitely savvy. But yeah, I mean, think about it, she was married 6 times. 6 times married and divorced. And think about that, like in the mid 1900s, I mean, some of them were not healthy relationships, but like just that to have the wherewithal and the strength to walk away at that point in time.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes people think that like bravery is only like sticking it out and forging ahead even if things are hard, but other times bravery is just like doing what's unconventional. Yeah. And that might be divorcing your asshole husband who doesn't respect what he has.
Absolutely. It makes you think of like Eat, Pray, Love, which I feel like got so much attention and then it kind of seemed really schlocky, but at the time I remember reading it and being like, oh, yeah, you can do it. You can.
Yep. I feel like that too. I feel like it wasn't until the movie came out and then people were like,
Yeah. I haven't seen it or read the book.
I haven't seen the movie, but the book, I loved the book. I thought it was great. Same with the book Wild.
I didn't read that one.
Yeah, same kind of thing. Like once after the movie came out, I was like, okay, well, that's weird and cliche and I don't like it. But the book, I was so inspired. I was like, I'm going to hike across the whole world.
And you get like 2 miles. You're like, and I'm done. Ooh,
yeah.
Coffee, yay.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh wait, no, I need I need access to coffee. Like that's my non-negotiable about travel is coffee must be accessible. It doesn't even have to be good coffee. Just coffee has to be. Coffee's not there, I'm not going.
I will keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's a problem. Well, that is, I don't know, like I feel all like excited right now. I want to go learn things about Wi-Fi because I don't even know how it works.
Thankful that it does.
I have no idea. Are there like any particular things? It doesn't just have to be about Women's History Month or Hedy Lamarr, but are there any things that like, you want to plug or you want to tell us that we should watch or listen to, or organizations or anything that are near and dear to your heart that we should be supporting right now or ever?
Oh, you're so cute. I mentioned the podcast Give or Take, same thing on Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok, which I'm scared to post videos of myself on, but they are coming. I'm so used to podcasts where I'm like, don't need to put on a face.
We're dealing with the exact same thing. Don't worry.
But they will be coming. I am the managing director for a small nonprofit theater company here in New York. It's called New Ambassadors. And part of the pandemic, they had a show that closed like the week before all the shutdowns, which great. Like we already had the show, but the ticketing company that they were using went bankrupt. So there's almost like $5,000 in ticket sales that they never got. So they're doing a fundraiser for them right now. Called New Ambassadors, and I am a foster mom to puppies, probably 10 or 20 a year, with a group called Pup Stars with a Z Rescue, and they take a lot of the bigger dogs, some of the sicker dogs from down south in the kill shelters, and they help bring them up here to get treatment and find forever homes. So those are just two small ones for me. As far as charities to give money to, but there's certainly Fair Fight is always a good one with all these voter laws happening all over the country, like 200 and something. They're trying to suppress the vote. That's so important. And people don't have money, donate time, phone banking, just like, anytime someone like Beto or AOC has a thing, you want to make the world a better place, phone bank if you can. That can be scary too, but I try to do it when I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we had a whole episode where we just had a bunch of different ways that we tried to say phone banking is not as scary as you think it will be.
Yeah.
And I want to hear from you guys about that stuff too, because I'm very East Coast centric, and I want to know more about what's happening in the middle of the country, where your votes for senator matter.
Yeah. In Iowa, it's not great right now. It's not great. We need a much stronger, like, Democratic coalition going on here.
They don't even have a mask mandate. Right?
Yeah. Right. Like, I meant to create a meme. Like, the meme from that movie with Jennifer Aniston and that weird-looking boy and Emma Roberts and some guy.
Yes, I think.
Where, like, he's like, you guys are getting paid? I want to make a meme of, like, Texas being like, there's no more mask mandate. And we're like, Iowa, you had a mask mandate?
Oh
Yeah.
Seriously, it's so bad. And it's just, it's not good. We definitely don't have a whole lot going on here on the progressive wing, but there's definitely stuff. It's just there's not a lot of numbers of people that are showing up in Iowa because they just move away.
Yeah.
And that's funny because so many people I know in New York have left. I've got at least like 20 people that have gone to Michigan, Georgia, a bunch of places.
Yeah, a lot of people are moving out of Iowa. Des Moines, still people live in Des Moines, and so that's where I'm at. And so I didn't even really realize until after this last election how bleak it is everywhere that's not Des Moines.
Mm-hmm.
Des Moines and Iowa City are very blue, but everywhere outside of that, it's pretty bad.
That's the same in New York, though. It's like New York City, some parts of Long Island, and then it's like everything else. We're actually having a guest on in a couple of weeks who is running the only city representative, House of Representatives from New York, from Staten Island, is a Republican, and there's like a woman of color veteran who's running to unseat the Republican in 2022. I'm very excited to have her on our pod in a couple of weeks.
That is exciting.
I know. Trying. Gotta get those seats in the House.
Who is it? Who's not the person? Who's she running against?
Oh, you're gonna make me Google it now?
No, sorry. I'm just hoping that it's Elise Stefanik, but
that sounds right. Is
it? Oh my gosh, I just really hate her. I just hate her whole vibe. Really?
Hold on. I'm. Her name is Brittany Ramos de Barros. That's who's running. Mm-hmm. And she's running Staten Island 22, and she's trying to unseat Nicole Malatakis of New York's 11th congressional district. Gotcha. The only Republican representative district in the city of New York. So there we go.
Yeah, we have one Democratic representative in the whole state of Iowa. So.
Well, if I can help call phone bank from the Democratic part of New York, that would help Iowa. You let me know.
All right.
We will.
6 votes. 6 votes made the difference in Iowa.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's really what we mean by like that one phone call you make phone banking could be like a huge difference maker.
That one bus of people from one church or one, social action group or something. Yeah.
Yep.
That one bus of high school kids who just turned 18, like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yep.
Wow.
It makes such a difference. Yeah. 6 votes.
Because I did see that even when I was looking at the election results for 2020, it was like tens of millions in certain states, and then it's like, 300,000. Okay. Makes sense. I mean, that's what it is. That's the truth. But it's just interesting when you're looking at different vote counts, and it's like the difference, and the vote's like 10,000, but 6. I can't even imagine 6. That would.
Yeah.
If I lost by 6 votes, I would literally be calling everyone in my family, everyone that I work with, being like, "Who didn't vote? Who didn't go?"
And going up to
You're
strangers
cut out
on
of
the
my
street.
life.
Yeah. Ugh. But yeah, Katie's got a very different situation in Illinois. So,
I mean, kind of, but like central and southern Illinois are like very much just like Iowa.
yeah.
There is like a kind of like where we used to live in Bloomington, Illinois, which is like right in the middle. It's going like it's purpley there, but yeah, I don't know. My Indivisible group has started to organize some phone banks into Adam Kinzinger's district. He's the like one of the 10 House Republicans who voted to impeach Trump. Like he's like one of the good ones. That there were some air quotes in there. Like Adam Kinzinger sucks, but he's not a fascist. Like that's the level we're at right now.
That's
like
the bar.
That's the bar. So yeah, he's one of the good ones because he has realized that fascism is bad. Yay. But we're phone banking into his district to get people to call him to vote in favor of HR 1. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're trying.
Yes, everybody support HR 1. Almost everybody does support HR 1. It's just you need your representatives to support HR 1.
Right. So again, like how out of touch is the Republican Party when like most people in the country are in support of this and like no Republicans in Congress are.
Same thing
like,
with the stimulus,
Yeah, that's
like
not how it's
it.
supposed to work. Like they're not doing their job. Like they gotta go.
Yeah,
like,
that's how I feel about like campaign finance reform and stuff too. Is it's like the average person on the street, I mean, bipartisan, resounding, yes, we need this, and yet
because it benefits Republicans and Democrats.
Again, it's that status quo,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, super fun stuff.
Yeah. But there's plans happening. I feel like now, given the last presidential election and everything, I just feel like people are more tuned in, and hopefully they don't be like, all right, we got Trump out, like done. Especially now, it's like, I was so grateful. I hadn't realized how grateful I was to not hear Trump's voice until CPAC, and then it's like I listened for a minute, and I know, right?
There's a really great t-shirt shop near us that sells all sorts of shirts, but they have one that says the election was the easy part. And I'm like, yes. People. Yes.
Yeah. Same thing. We were talking about relations before. It's like, oh, just when I was single, it's like, just find a man. And then it's like, okay, just get married to him. And then it's like, okay, that wasn't necessarily the easy part, but like, it's still work. Like relationships are still work, elections matter, but you can't just be like, great, I got them in. I'm going to stop paying attention now. Like,
No,
work.
They're accountable to us.
Especially now, it's so easy to find podcasts like this or mine, or like literally just get a little snippet. NPR has the quick breakdowns. You can keep up at least a little bit if you try.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I actually feel like it makes things seem less scary and less out of your control when you listen to podcasts or, read stuff by people. I think it does. It makes you realize that you do have control. Yeah, maybe you're not the one making the decisions, but it does somehow give more hope than, even despite the 24-hour news cycle. Maybe that's just a me thing, but I feel so much better when I'm informed.
And you never know if your comment or information that you hand out to somebody is going to make a difference. I tabled getting signatures for Elizabeth Warren because that was my candidate in 2020, and I tabled with somebody who was just finishing up grad school, and for local elections I was talking about something, and he's like, yeah, people tell me I should run against so and so for city council, and guess who's running for city council? Like that dude.
Yay.
I'm sure I wasn't the only one that was like, why not? Like, go for it. He's younger. He's just finished business school. He's from the Ukrainian Jewish community, which there's a lot of that community, like, near where I live. They don't have any representation, and he's running. It's a pretty big field, but, like, I don't know. Maybe I was, like, the 100th person who told him to do it, and he's doing it, you know?
Mhm.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
That's very cool. Oh, this has been fun.
Yeah, my dogs are yelling at me for dinner in the background. So, but it was so great getting to chat with you, ladies. I hope we can have you on our pod sometime soon as well. We'll navigate that.
Sure.
Yes, that would be super fun. We would love that. And and if your co-host, if Wendy wants to come on and talk about a woman in history or literally anything else, she can too. Or you can both come back.
I will let her know. Sounds great.
Cool.
We love.
Yay!
Thank you so much.
It was
Thank
so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, ladies.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for listening to For Your Misinformation. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast, and if you like it, give us a rating and a review.
It helps us find more listeners, and the more of us there are, the better. And make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at FYMI Pod.
Shout out to Ben Schlofelt for the audio production, Hope Dye for the podcast art, Kyle Dibdahl for the intro and outro music, and Adam Roston, who edits these videos every week so you can watch them on YouTube.
We come out with new episodes every Monday.